Greg, we've been debating the idea of hybrid work for at least 2 years now. What do you think about the idea of work location and how it's a fundamental part of a company's overall business culture?
I think it's a great question, and it's been in the news as recently as this last week with Mary Barra and GM still grappling with this issue a couple of years after the pandemic. And in my view, it is one of those factors that now is a fundamental cultural dimension of a company. And companies and leadership within companies in particular have to be definitive about their choices in this space. And as they consider that, they should recognize that once they've been definitive, that they will have some employees that opt in or opt out on the basis of that. And they do have to consider the fact that hybrid work, for example, gives you access to different types of talent. And that we've now got the science on this that would show that, for example, highly talented women that may not have otherwise been able to go after a senior level or a high skilled job now have that access in a hybrid model. So it's a complex question, but I do think from a leadership standpoint, companies have to be definitive because it's as important to employees as their benefit programs, their vacation policy, and all the other dimensions that people choose companies over.
What do you think about the idea that at least if I'm not going to be definitive, or if I have a direction and it may or may not change, we actually call it an experiment rather than this is our direction?
Yeah, I think if you've explicitly called it an experiment, your employees can give you permission. But if you haven't, then you're really moving their cheese, to use kind of the old change management adage, right? And then you'll get an engagement hit for that.
Thank you, Greg. And thank you to our listeners for joining in the conversation.